You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. You do not carry this all alone.
Good morning. My name is Donna McClurkin, and I'm here as a member of the Sunday Services Committee. Welcome to all of you joining us for today's service, those in person, on Zoom, and later on YouTube. A special welcome is extended to newcomers and visitors here in the Commons and virtually. We're so glad you're here. We gather in the space to learn what it means to be in relationship, what it means to be human, and what it means to be Unitarian Universalists. Let us now move into worship, authentic and curious, with compassion and open to connections in all its forms. But first, we have a few announcements. First, the kiddos, there are specialty classes today, indoor games, since it's a little too chilly to be outside, icicle and snowflake crafts, and something to do with the Lunar New Year. And we have an announcement about the silent auction from Sharon and Donna both.
Hi.
Good morning. Donna. I am so excited.
I'm usually the one that's so excited.
I know, but you didn't do what I did yesterday.
What did you do yesterday, Sharon?
Well, I got on that auction site and don't tell anybody. But there are so many cool things on the auction.
Like what?
Like what? Like eggs. Eggs.
Eggs.
I'm not going to say anymore because... An RV.
An RV?
Yeah. Not for sale, but, you know, somebody could take a little vacation.
I want to take a vacation.
And this is one of my favorites. 4 hours of manual labor. 4 hours. They'll do 4.
I can get my deck painted.
They said that, paint a porch. I don't know, paint a deck if you can get it done in a couple hours.
Donuts? Are there any donuts?
No.
Oh.
Hey, somebody could donate donuts for a while. That would be exciting. But the most exciting thing is 1 week, friends, 1 week from today. That auction is live, and you too can be on bidding. But here's the deal. When Reverend Rachel comes back and she's preaching next week at this time, don't have your phones up. That might not look very good.
Yeah.
So you have 1 more week to put any more donations on, and then 1 week from today, you can start bidding on those cool things. Pool party.
And if there are donuts and somebody else bids, I'm going to outbid you.
And then the final auction will be closing on the 22nd at 10:45. So thank you again for all the people that have already donated. I just could not believe how wonderful the ideas are and how many people, new people. We always thank the people that have donated in the past, but there's a lot of new people that are donating. So thank you so much.
That's a hard act to follow. I'm going to give a brief introduction of our guest in the pulpit today, who is Reverend Jill Terwilliger. Reverend Jill is a grief and change coach and a hospice grief support counselor. She's a TEDx speaker whose work draws on experience in parish ministry, mental health advocacy, hospice chaplaincy, restorative justice, and the arts. Her work is grounded in the understanding that grief arises not only from death, but with all the transitions that reshape our lives. Born and raised UU, Jill was ordained to the ministry in 2000. She has lived along the I-94 corridor her whole life, from Milwaukee to Madison to Minneapolis, and for the last 23 years in Kalamazoo. And the last announcement is that Jill will be speaking today here in this space, starting at 12:30. The title of her talk is Lessons from Minneapolis. In January, she joined faith leaders in Minneapolis for 2 days of learning and action with those at the heart of Minnesota's resistance. It was powerful and deeply hopeful. Today, she'll share what she saw and learned about resisting rising authoritarianism in the United States, followed by updates from Kalamazoo leaders on local organizing and how you can take part. Again, that's at 12:30 in this space. Light refreshments will be offered for those joining in person. And if you want to join by Zoom, it's the same link that the church services are.
Body or spirit to sing our opening song together. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Now we will sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Once more, comfort me again. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
I'd like to invite Mara up for our chalice lighting, please. Our chalice lighting today is called Sacred Unknowing by Amy Carol Webb. We light this flame for the art of sacred unknowing, humbled by all that we cannot fathom at this time. We come into the presence of what we do know, perhaps the only thing we can ever know, that love is now and forever the only answer to everything and everyone in every moment.
I'd like to invite anybody up who would like to hear a story. Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you out here today. I wanted to share a story with you today about somebody named Ruby who is feeling a little bit worried. And what I was wondering, is there anybody here that has ever felt a little worried? If you felt worried, raise your hand. We're out here to see all the people that are feeling, all the grown-ups that feel worried sometimes too. This is called Ruby Finds a Worry. Ruby loved being Ruby. She loved to swing and loved high. Does anybody else like swinging? Yeah? Do you like going high? Yeah, it's the best when your feet touch the sky. As long as it doesn't make your tummy go funny. Can you hear me now?
No.
Well, can you hear me now? Thank you, Jill. All right, so this is a story about Ruby. Ruby loved being Ruby, and she loved to swing up high. And she loved to explore far, wild, faraway places. And sometimes she even went all the way to the very end of the bottom of the garden. And Ruby was perfectly happy until one day she discovered a worry. It wasn't a very big worry. Looks kind of like a smallish worry right there, doesn't it? In fact, it was so small that at first Ruby hardly noticed it. But the worry started to grow. And each day it got a little bit bigger. And right now it's in her chair while she's trying to read, and it's taking up a lot of space.
I'm getting her very upset and angry.
It just wouldn't leave her alone. It was at breakfast, staring her over the cereal box. And it was still there at night while she was trying to brush her teeth. The funny thing was that no one else could see Ruby's worry, not even her teacher. So Ruby pretended that she couldn't see it either. Looks like it might be growing.
Oh yeah, ground.
She tried to carry on as if everything was normal, but it just wasn't. The worry was always there, stopping her from doing the things that she loved. Ruby wondered if the worry would ever go away. What if it didn't? What if it stayed with her forever? Ruby really didn't realize it, but she was doing the worst thing you can possibly ever do with a worry.
What was she doing?
She was worrying about it.
She was worrying about her worry?
She was worrying about her worry, and now the worry was enormous. It could barely fit in the kitchen at dinner time, and it filled up the whole school bus. Oh my gosh. And it took up the whole row at the movie theater. And the worry became the only thing that Ruby could think about. And it seemed like she would never feel happy again. And then one day, something unexpected happened. She noticed a boy that was sitting alone at the park, and he looked how she felt. And then she noticed something else, something hovering next to him. Wait, could that be a worry?
It's his worry.
Yes, it was. Ruby realized that she wasn't the only person with a worry after all. Other people had them too. And she asked the boy what was on his mind. And as he told her, the strangest thing happened. His worry began to shrink. What?
Does her worry get? When you worry more, the worry gets bigger. When you worry less, it gets smaller.
Exactly. Then Ruby did the absolute best thing you can ever do when you have a worry. She talked about it. And as the words tumbled out, Ruby's worry began to shrink until it was barely there at all. And soon, both of their worries were gone. Finally, Ruby felt like herself again. Of course, that wasn't the last time she ever had a worry, because everybody gets them from time to time. But now that she knew the secret to getting rid of them, they never hung around for long. So my question for you is, who can you talk to when you have a worry?
A grown-up.
A grown-up?
Your brother.
A brother?
A sister.
A
family,
sister?
like someone you like, someone you trust.
Somebody you trust, that's key.
Someone you know.
Somebody you know.
Roadkill.
Or a random squirrel, according to Reed. So remember, everybody feels worried. Everybody feels worried sometimes.
I feel a lot worried sometimes.
You feel a lot of worry sometimes? Make sure you find somebody that you trust, that you feel safe with, that you can talk.
I worry a lot because I have anxiety.
Oh, because you have anxiety. I think that is very common today. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety. And so keep talking about it and sharing your worries with others so they don't get so big they take up the whole row in the movie theater.
Look at I'm so big.
All right, let's go to our classes. Thank you.
I am stuck to do.
Go forth in peace, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the work of the church, specifically the quiet work, meaningful work that goes on behind the scenes and not behind the scenes, but doesn't announce itself loudly. A few examples: library books that get reshelved, kitchen linens laundered, fundraisers and finances attended to, children fed and mentored, technical and non-technical activities to keep us connected to each other and the community at large, grounds that need keeping to keep invasives at bay, and beauty for us to love. Sunday morning escorts from the back parking lot, plumbing and heating and cooling and fixing all the things buildings need over time. These things and so much more contribute to the richness of our church community. In these times especially, paying attention to all this can help us stay grounded in gratitude. The offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
I am worn, I am tired, in my quiet sorrow. Hopelessness will not let me be. Help me. I won't speak of this ache. Inside light eludes me. In the silence of my heart, I'm praying. I You're my hope when I fear, holding on, believing. Deep inside I pray I'm strong. Blessed be.
Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone.
Good morning, I'm Bob Davis. We live? Yes, there we go. Very good. People's people care for one another in good times and in bad. And one of the ways we do this is we take time during the service for people to share important milestones, cares, sorrows, joys with the congregation. If you wish to do so, now is the time to come forward. Please tell us your name and speak succinctly into the microphone. You may then place a stone in our bowl of water. The ripples that are created by dropping a stone in the water as they bounce around symbolize how our lives interact with the entire world. If at this time you don't want to share details, you may just come up and say your name and place a stone in the water. If you're joining us on Zoom or remotely, you may enter your joy or sorrow into the chat box or just the word stone. Please enter your name as well if your name does not correspond to the Zoom account name that you're using. And now I'll place a few stones in the bowl for the joys and sorrows that are left unspoken. May the people that are weary find rest. May those that are sick be tended. May those that are dying and those who love them find solace and peace. And may the joyful be shielded. And may all of us know that we are wrapped in a peace and love that passes all understanding.
wings. I know this rose will open.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. ChatGPT and I wrote a really lovely reading, but I'm not using it because I realized that there was something else I needed. So this is an excerpt from an article called "We Need New Models for How to Grieve" by Debbie Brown. It was published in Time magazine last April. Across history, grief has long been honored as a sacred rite of passage. In ancient traditions, it was seen not as something to fix, but something to feel. In Hindu and Vedic rituals, entire communities participate in prayers and mantras over the course of days, sometimes weeks. Among many indigenous tribes in America, grief is a communal ceremony marked by crying, singing, storytelling, and symbols of transformation like cutting hair. These are not just symbolic acts, they are energetic portals, ways of helping the soul move through the liminal space between loss and rebirth. Even in the Abrahamic faiths, grieving has a timeline and a structure. Jewish mourning rituals like Shiva offer both the mourner and the community a rhythm of presence and pause. Islam emphasizes prayer and remembrance over the course of several days. These traditions teach us that grief isn't meant to be private or rushed. It is meant to be honored. But when cultures lose these rituals, when grief becomes invisible, the consequences are devastating. Take Japan, where the erosion of Shinto and Buddhist death rituals has coincided with an epidemic of overwork and suicide. The body knows when grief is not expressed. The spirit remembers what the mind tries to forget. The collective trauma of the COVID-19 pandemic taught us this. Post-2020, we are grieving more than just people. We are grieving the lives we thought we would have. The pandemic unearthed a collective ache that had long been buried beneath deadlines, distractions, and digital noise. Add to that the daily toll of burnout, racial trauma, economic precarity, and social fragmentation, and we are left with a deep, unspoken suffering that simmers just beneath the surface. We are trying to keep up in a world that won't slow down, even as our hearts are breaking.
Made Visible by James Cruz. Some days I wish our pain was visible, that our grief gave off a slight glimmer from the center of the chest, so that as we walk down the street, shifting a bag of olive oil and bread from one hand to the other, every passerby might see a glow lifting off of us like moonlight on the surface of broken water, and know to soften their eyes and whisper hello.
I invite you to stretch upward to find singing space in your body, in your seat. changes not abide with me. I fear no foe with thee at hand to bless. Hills have no weight and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where, grave, thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me.
Last year, a member of one of my hospice grief groups brought that Debbie Brown article from Time about the need for new models of grieving to group. And as we talked about it, I asked the group, what would have been most helpful to you in your early grief? How could your communities have eased the suffering and the loneliness of that time? And what they described wasn't a lack of ritual or care. What they longed for was understanding. They wished the people around them hadn't been afraid to talk about their person, weren't confused when it felt hard to be in a crowd for the griever, and weren't surprised that grief didn't resolve itself in a few months. Again and again, they named the ache of being misunderstood, of having to explain themselves, stay silent, or manage other people's discomfort. What they wished for in the end was that their families, friends, and communities had known how to read the situation. They wished that the people around them had been literate in grief. And from that conversation, this sermon was born. What would it mean to be a grief-literate community? And how might it change the way we live together? Grief is myriad. We grieve deaths, of course, but so much more. We grieve the marriage that ended and the one that stayed but became something else. We grieve spouses lost to death or illness or prison or walls of silence that can't be breached. We grieve jobs we lost, jobs we kept, jobs that promoted us into lives that no longer fit. We grieve retirement and the quiet loss of usefulness and structure. We grieve bodies that age or betray us, the loss of safety, control, and trust in what our bodies once promised. We grieve pregnancies, the ones that come, the ones that don't, the ones that change everything. We grieve children leaving home and the strange ache of missing someone who is exactly where they should be. We grieve beloved animals whose love was uncomplicated and whose deaths leave a cold spot on the couch. We grieve houses and addresses, mortgages and foreclosures. We grieve friends who died and friends who didn't but drifted away. We grieve the possibility of reconciliation, love not received, and things that could have been. Debbie Brown says, grief is the internal earthquake that shakes the foundations of who we are. We are all grievers. And yet so many of us don't know the language. Experiencing grief doesn't inherently make one grief literate. Unless one is very young, literacy in a new language is built through study and practice. My dad died when I was 19. I really didn't know a thing about grief. And I didn't even know to study grief. Instead, I dove into studying death and dying. It was interesting. But it didn't teach me about what was happening inside of me, how to adjust to living in a world that didn't include my dad, or how to be with others who were grieving. So if you've experienced grief, and you're human, and most of you are adults, so I know you have, if you've experienced grief and yet you don't feel comfortable and confident in the language of grief, that's not a failing on your part. It's not a language we commonly teach. We're much more comfortable in euphemism. We become fluent through study and practice. So here, to begin, are 5 basic things that I want you to know on the path to becoming grief literate. 1, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. If you cry too much, people think you're doing it wrong. If you don't cry enough, people think you're doing it wrong. No one's doing it wrong. Every loss is unique. Each person finds their own way through it. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. 2, grief is messy. There are lots of frameworks we use to try to contain grief. The 4 tasks of grieving, the 5 stages of grief, the 6 needs of mourning. There are a lot of them. But no framework can hold all the ins, can hold it all in, and make grief neat. Grief loops and stretches. It backtracks. It surprises us. It refuses to stay tidy. 3, fluent speakers of grief know that grief is long. Researchers define early grief as the first 2 years after a significant loss. And yet psychological standards often label grief as pathological if it lasts beyond 6 months or even 6 weeks, depending on which standard you're looking at. That disconnect causes real harm. 4, the goal of grief is not to get back to who you were before the loss. The goal is to adapt to a changed world, a changed life. You will be okay again, but you will not be the same. There's no going back. And 5, people fluent in grief know that grief is not a problem to be fixed. Meaningful support, whether from family, friends, or professionals, doesn't focus on taking away the pain of grief. It helps us live with it. It gives us new ways to carry it as we figure out how to engage with life in new ways. Grief is not a problem to be fixed. These are things grievers need to know to understand their own experience, and they're things communities need to know about grievers so that we can be better companions. One consequence of our grief illiteracy is that many of us pull away when grief appears. We're afraid of saying the wrong thing. After, "I'm so sorry for your loss," we freeze there. Some of us pull back because our own losses are stirred. Others worry about the intensity of grief and whether they have the capacity to receive it. And underneath it all is that urge to fix suffering. It is such a beautiful instinct, but not one that grief requires. And grievers go quiet too. We worry about being a burden, about taking up too much space with our sorrow. We may feel shame about some of the emotions that don't fit the script, like anger or jealousy or relief. Inside families, silence can be meant as a protection and yet feel like isolation. And many grievers carry the fear that if they begin to cry, they'll never stop. But no feeling is final. No one has ever cried forever. The tragic result of this double silence is that we wait for each other and everyone ends up alone. This isn't a moral failing. It's a lack of communal skill. It's a lack of literacy. All the things I've said about individual grief is also true of communities, of congregations, and of civic life. Just like individuals, we as congregations grieve so much more than the deaths in our community. We grieve lingering arguments over theology, authority, mission, or even paint colors. We grieve ministers who leave and who we were with them. A colleague once said, "We want Unitarian Universalism to stay just as it was when we joined." And so we grieve when it continues to evolve. We grieve the friends who slip away. We grieve the rituals that change, the traditions that stop being passed from hand to hand. And we grieve even the good changes, growth, justice, becoming, because every becoming asks us to release something we loved. Grief doesn't stop at the doors of the congregation. Each day's news right now brings new exclamations of, "Can you believe this? How can they get away with that?" Until exhaustion sets in and even outrage becomes too much to feel. In this season of rising authoritarianism on American soil, I'm grieving a functioning democracy, even the one that never worked equally for all and has long been strained. I'm grieving the loss of trust in systems meant to protect and deliver justice, and reckoning with the truth that my ability to ever trust them was shaped by my privilege. I'm grieving the loss of ethics, service, accountability as guiding values at the highest levels of government, now replaced by power, personal enrichment, and retribution, even as I know this tension has always been within politics. I am grieving basic human decency, while also witnessing communities that continue to show us what it means to truly love our neighbors. I am grieving. Our communities are grieving. It is private and public. It is individual and shared, personal and systemic. Communities grieve the way people do because they are collections of people. And when grief goes unrecognized, it doesn't disappear. It finds other ways to speak. It can harden into anger or rigidity, wear people down into burnout, or quietly push them out the door. When grief is avoided, the same conflicts resurface again and again. When it's rushed, we get the appearance of unity without the substance. And when grief remains invisible and untended, it slowly drains the life from a system, leaving people exhausted and disconnected. I want you to recall for a moment some disagreement or impasse or disruption that you have experienced in community, whether it's church or elsewhere. And as I tell this story, I want you to consider how unnamed grief, untended grief, might have played a role in that situation. I once worked with a congregation that was struggling with big questions around growth and their historic building, a building literally built by the hands of their ancestors 3 and 4 generations ago. On the surface, it was about a decision: build a new building to increase capacity and accessibility, or adapt to the building as it had been for 4 generations. The same arguments resurfaced over and over again. We never seemed to be able to move the conversation forward. One of the things we realized eventually was that the elders felt unseen in their deep attachment to this place, and their grief was making itself loud. Once that grief was named, honored, tended, not as an excuse, but as a reality, something shifted. The differences didn't vanish. The decisions didn't suddenly become easy, but the tone changed. People softened, curiosity returned. What had felt like stubbornness revealed itself as sorrow and the fear of losing even more. Think again about the disruption I asked you to remember a few minutes ago. Saying that grief might be part of what's happening doesn't make the problem smaller or insignificant. It's not a dismissal. It makes it more honest. It helps us understand why people are so tender, so reactive, so stuck. When we can see the grief at work, we're no longer guessing or blaming. We have a place to start. Grief literacy gives us some shared practices for meeting hard moments. So here are 3 communal practices to add to your grief literacy library. Ways of being together when loss is present and easy answers are not. The first is consent. One spiritual technology Unitarian Universalists already practice so well is consent culture, and it belongs not only to our conversations about our bodies, but to our emotional and communal lives as well. It helps make us more thoughtful, more humane in our attempts to support one another in sorrow. In grief-literate communities, we slow down and ask. We check whether someone would like to hear a memory of their loved one today, so we know if now is the time they're able to receive it. When we need to speak our own sorrow or lament, we ask whether someone has the capacity to listen right now. We practice being clear about what we need and how we want to receive support. And we offer only what we can freely give and with care. This kind of consent doesn't drain intimacy, it makes it possible. The second practice is lament. Grief-literate communities reclaim it. In white Protestant culture, which whether we ever liked it or not, we grew up in it, suffering in silence, especially for women, has often been exalted as a virtue. But grief needs air. Naming our losses matters. It gives shape to what feels overwhelming and formless. Naming creates witness and validation, and it interrupts the quiet repetition of old wounds. When we can name what hurts, we gain the possibility of choice. How do we want to respond to this? What does care look like now? And the third practice is resisting urgency. In grief-literate communities, we make space for hard conversations and resist the pressure for quick resolution. We let grief be seen and heard, rather than rushed or solved. And we learn, with humility, what kind of support we're actually good at offering and what kind we're not. We are living in a time of enormous loss. Political grief, authoritarian incursion, the erosion of shared reality, chronic change. A grief-illiterate culture numbs itself or lashes out. A grief-literate community stays human. Staying human means choosing to name what hurts instead of pretending it doesn't. It means tolerating discomfort rather than demanding quick fixes. It means refusing invisibility for our own grief and for the grief of others. It means staying present to what is breaking without turning away or hardening our hearts. Grief literacy will not spare us loss, but it can spare us loneliness. And in a time like this is no small thing. May it be so. May we make it so through our living.
Before our music starts, I'll ask you to rise and body your spirit, to sing our closing song together. You might have heard it on the way in. You do not have the words on the screen, so you can pick them up from Rachel and I, and from the video, of course. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for
carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. You do not carry this all alone.
One last time.
You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. You do not carry this all alone.
Go gently. Carry what is yours. Release what you can. And trust that there are hands beyond your own. You do not carry this